Lori, here we are doing another afternoon podcast, and it's a little tough.
I know. And it was your idea. So it's your fault because my brain is already done. But we have lots to talk about.
We do have a lot to talk about. First, I want to talk about my candy that I found.
Okay. Because I want to talk about my cookie. So what's my candy?
It's food. Of course, we're going to talk about food. I love it.
Okay.
So, do you remember the old Chico sticks?
Yes. I love the long chicken sticks.
Yes. Now they have them in these little tiny old-fashioned candies. I found them at Walmart, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had to buy them. So I couldn't find the big ones, but I have the babies.
Gosh, my mom used to love those. And if somebody's never had them, if you can imagine eating the inside of a Butterfinger without the chocolate.
That's exactly it. That's why I love it, because Butterfinger is my favorite candy bar. So there we are.
The other warning I will give out is you may break some teeth, but totally worth it.
I have never broke my teeth on them, but you can
have it.
Especially this size, you can suck on them till they get
Oh my gosh.
So I probably am going to have to send those to you.
So dangerous. See, I never go to Walmart because it's far from my house.
Okay.
Never ever go. Maybe that is a blessing in disguise.
It was a whole section that had old-fashioned candies.
So
these old-fashioned ones that you're going to go, oh, I remember this.
Oh, man.
That was always fun.
The ones, they were striped. They were some kind of log.
They had the bit of honey.
Oh, bit of honey.
They had those.
I told you about the time. So growing up, my dad had a pickup truck with a camper on the back. And we went camping, of course, because that's what you do in a camper. I mean, one of those cool campers that was small.
Yeah, I know. And then it goes over the top of the pickup, and that's where you sleep on.
Yep, and it had a door on the back. It wasn't illegal back in the 70s, but he'd throw us 3 kids in the back, and we would drive to Padre Island from Oklahoma in the summers. One time, we stopped to get gas. We all ran into the bathroom. He threw us back in. Similar to how they put dogs in the back of kennels when you're throwing them in the back to take them to the shelter. That's what my parents were doing to us. There's a little tiny window between the truck and the camp that you can open and close. They can open and close it. We cannot.
Okay. Knock on it.
Only the parents could. So my dad goes in to pay for the gas, comes back. We're driving along. I'm always peeking through that window because I really wanted to be up front with my mama. All of a sudden, he pulls out of his pocket a bit of honey. And I was like, ooh, daddy has candy. And so I grabbed my brother and sister. We're all peeking through. They ate that whole bit of honey in front of us, pulling and sharing with each other in front of their 3 children while we banged on that door. If I would have had access to a phone, I would have called the child abuse hotline had I known there was. I don't think there was one.
Can't you just see you and Mark doing that, though, to your kids?
I would totally do it. I think about that. I was probably 6, 5 or 6 years old.
That was abuse.
It was so abusive, but it was a bit of honey. And I just remember my mom was like, ooh, and he'd go, ooh.
That's hilarious.
We were in the back with like crackers. We didn't have anything, but anyway.
Okay, so what about your cookie?
Well, the Girl Scouts showed up yesterday.
Oh, yes.
My husband answered the door.
Yes.
And so we now have 6 boxes.
And what are those?
I do not know what they are.
New.
They are new. They have peanut butter in the middle and then chocolate stripes, and then it's like a really hard cookie. They are good. This is my second one. But I was asking him today, I was like, how many boxes did you buy? And he's like, well, it's for a good cause. He always says that. And he said, because I was watching him through the ring, and he was out there for a while, and it was this little girl. She was probably 10 or 11. And he was just going with her. I'm like, what's he doing? Just buy the cookies. And I asked him today about it, and he said, well, I was trying to get her to sell. I was trying to get her to sell me a product because, he's in.
Like you.
Yeah. And he was asking her, Like, "Well, what are your favorites?" She's like, "I don't know." Well, do you have anything new? Tell me about your new products. Share with me your products," and da 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 da. And finally, he said he looked up and the dad kinda comes walking around laughing. He goes, "She's quite the salesman." Anyway, she's like, "So do you want 'em?" And he's like, "Yeah." Anyway, so
So how many boxes did he
6. He
6.
bought
Oh,
6.
okay.
He bought 6.
He bought
For
6.
2 for 2 people, 6. We each get 3.
You put them in the freezer. It's all good.
I know it, but
They might not make it that long, but just
no,
in case.
exactly, exactly. Okay, I found something that I wanted to read to you. It's short. Remember when we did the podcast on kindness?
Yes. Mhm. I do.
A lot of feedback from that one.
We
Positive.
do. We got a people really, really appreciate
Yeah, which
Yeah.
was good because I remember when you wanted to do it, I was like, "Huh,
Huh.
I didn't really
Yeah. You're
kindness."
like, "Wait a minute. Vonda
Yeah.
doesn't always come up with good ideas."
Do it. Anyway, I saw on Instagram,
Okay.
someone posted a short part of a poem by a lady named, and I pulled it up so I didn't forget. Her name is Danusha Lamoureux, probably, because I have an accent over, and it's called Small Kindnesses. And I went on to do a little bit of a deep dive on her. She's a famous author and a poet, and she writes a lot of beautiful things. So I just wanted to read this short little thing because I thought of our podcast and I also thought of a lot of the people we interact with on a daily basis. And mostly I thought of the people that will email us or send us a quick text or a
Mhm.
phone call or, "Hey, I listened to you," or "I agree with that," or just some little thing.
Some kind of acknowledge.
It is an act of kindness, something that they don't have to do, but it's those little extras that help get us through the day too, and they don't even realize it. So, this is called small kindnesses. I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by, or how strangers still say bless you when someone sneezes, which is left over from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we are saying. And sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly, we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and say thank you to the person handing it, to smile at them and for them to smile back at us, for the waitress to call us honey when she sits us down to the bowl of clam chowder, for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other now, so far from tribe and fire. Only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy? These fleeting temples we make together when we say, "Here, take my seat," or "Go ahead, you first," or "Hey, I like your hat."
Yeah. Wow.
And I was like,
So great. Wow.
it's so true.
So true.
It's just
You
like,
don't even think of those little things though, like when somebody's coming by, you pull your legs in, or you let somebody go in the door before you. But those are those small
those
acts of kindness.
small, little tiny acts that are appreciated by the other person. Or I was walking into the hardware store the other day, and a man and his wife were walking out, and I was pretty far away from the door. And the man and his wife walked out, and he was talking, just jabbering away to her. And she was like, I'm not mad at you, but you just didn't say that very nice. And he goes, "Well, and then he looked up and saw me, he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he ran back to open the door for me.
Wow.
And I giggled because I thought, even in the midst of their little,
Yeah.
which we all do,
Right.
his manners kicked in, which I wouldn't have thought a thing about it. Been like, he's kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were just being them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. And
That
it was
that
kind yet comforting because I was like, I'm that couple. I'm
we've
like,
all been there,
"Yeah,
right?
but you just didn't make it nice to me."
Totally get that. One thing I didn't mention when we were talking about the kindness podcast is it was probably the 3rd week of the year, 3rd week of January. I got a random email, and this person said, "I've made it my goal this year to say things that I need to say, but I don't have enough time to do them." And he sent this email, though I mean, I was crying because I was, like, so tough, and it was just things that it's like, "You don't know this, but you should know this, and I've been wanting to tell you this, but it's never a good time." And it was just the sweetest thing ever, and I thought, what a great thing to just take time, and maybe we all should have that once a month to reach out and say, "Did you know this about you?" or "How I
Right.
appreciate this about you." It was just random and unexpected and beautiful.
Yeah.
And I could tell you that changed my whole demeanor for weeks, and still, you can see in my eyes, I'm still
Yeah. It's emotional. Yeah.
because it was so sincere and just heartfelt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was huge kindness that
It
we
really is. So many times we think of the nice thing, but we don't say it.
right.
Think that's why I think of my mom was such a stickler for sending the written thank you note.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I can remember after like my wedding or a baby shower, you're like, now I don't mean to harp on you, but did you send Myrna her thank you? Like, and I'm like, stop. But I get it now. I get
My
it.
my daughter-in-law, Erica, still does that and still has the girls send thank you notes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just having this baby shower with Amanda, my daughter in law. The minute it was over, instead of going home, we went back to her parents because they're storing a bunch of their stuff there of the baby stuff. We go down to get her notebook to make sure everything is written and accounted for so she can go home and start the thank you notes.
Yeah,
And I'm like, God, you were raised right. She's like,
exactly.
well, because it matters. If somebody took the time, it's those little things that send in a little text, "Hey, I'm still thinking about what you did for me," or "I'm still thinking about how
Oh,
you loved it," 'cause we you
huge,
know.
huge.
That's not what we were gonna talk
I
about.
know, that's not we were going to it the
We
opposite.
got off we got off the beaten path, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll bring back
Yeah, and the reason that I wanted to do this subject is because of the kindness podcast we did. I had 2 different responses that said how nice it was to have that, but they had had situations where people were not kind, and there were people that they trusted, they were mentors, there was somebody who was important in their life that broke that trust, that now they couldn't trust him anymore. And my heart hurt for those people, Lori.
yeah.
My heart hurt because you could feel the sincerity in what they were saying. And I don't know, it's just like we've all been in that situation where we have trusted and we've been all in, right? Trusting this person that this was going to happen. Oh, they said this was it. This and it doesn't happen. And there's many things, we'll just talk about them, but it's so emotional, and the emotional pain is just like a physical pain, and I think sometimes we don't realize that. It's like, "Oh, it's what we're feeling, that's what it is."
Yeah. And I I was reading a long time ago about emotional pain and physical pain, and one of the things I read, it was medical case studies type thing. Our brain doesn't necessarily know the difference.
Right.
And a lot of the stuff that I've been through, and I believe that. I mean, the physical toll that emotional pain takes on our bodies is incredible.
Mhm.
It's absolutely incredible. I'm trying to remember the exact story, but they were talking about how, like, our brain, the way it reacts to emotional trauma about something, it doesn't know the difference between the emotion of that or, like, physically running from a lion. Like, it's the same thing.
Fight or flight. And years ago, I remember reading that too because of the stress and some stuff. It said even taking a pain reliever like an Advil or something
Mhm.
does help for the emotional pain,
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah.
"Seriously?"
Or
I
if the
said
histamine, the Benadryl was helping or something because of the histamine, because it's that extra in your body. So, we're not doctors. We're not
"No,
telling you to take Advil or Tylenol or histamine.
you
I'm saying this is what we are
do
reading
what you want, but
about, and all
your
I'm trying
experience."
to that. No, but,
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
it is because you wouldn't think that, and I
Uh-uh.
think just as humans, we think, "Oh my gosh, it's why can't we get through this? Why is this hurting me so
Right,
deeply?"
and we also think we can compartmentalize, right? "Oh, I'll just deal with it later." Well, y it's affecting you more than you know. So,
Mhm.
you wrote down some good notes here because when you brought this to me, I was like, "Oh, Vonda,
I know, it's so
we
heavy.
really wanna go there? Like, this is a lot."
Well, and a couple reasons too. The aftermath of kindness, but right now we're just getting through Valentine's Day. There are a lot of breakups after
Yeah,
Valentine's
that's true.
Day,
A lot
right?
of breakups, betrayals. There's a lot of maybe, people that weren't happy with their flowers.
Yeah, it could be a negative review, and it's a
Yeah.
customer you've always trusted, and you thought, "Oh my gosh, they would never say anything negative."
Mhm. Or
So there's all
an
kinds of things.
employee that bailed on you in your time of need, you know?
Yeah,
I've heard stories of that, like, all of a sudden, they're just not there for you over Valentine's, and you're like, "Wait, what? What are you doing?"
you worked here all year,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
here now you're not here.
yep,
What are you doing?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so there were several of them, and a couple key. One we just talked about, it's not just emotional, right? We know that. There's studies that say social rejection and emotional pain are processed in the same brain regions as physical injury. So, yeah, and that's what you just were talking about. The other one, trust is a core human need. When trust is broken, it can lead to hurtful self questioning, loss of confidence, and hypervigilance in future relationships. Makes you really leery to go into another relationship.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So, how does that equate to, let's say you're running your flower shop and one of your employees does something behind your back, right? One of your who you thought you trusted. Do you fire them immediately and just move on, or do you give them a second chance? Or, I mean, how do you deal with that type of thing?
I think if first and foremost, it's having the conversation, right?
Yeah.
I, I think that's it, which is really hard to do. You have to acknowledge and confront them and say, I heard this. Is this what really happened?
Mhm.
I think you have to confront it, right? Even though you're hurting,
Yeah.
you
It depends on motive. I don't know. I don't wanna get biblical, but I think about Peter and Judas, like, they both betrayed, but their hearts were very, very different.
you
Like
know what? That's good. That's a good point, Lori.
like Judas fought through this, and he was like, "I'm gonna turn him in, I'm gonna get some money." Peter was like, "No, I don't know, I'm scared," and freaked out, and then he's like, "Oh, crap, what did I do?" Like, very different
Yeah.
motives.
Yeah.
What was the circumstance? Was it just you got caught up in the moment, and so you gossiped about me and you just got caught? Like, what was it? And are you remorseful, or you steal from the cash register and like, what was it?
What was it? I think is a big question.
Big thing.
And then confronting it and finding out the core or the source of what happened, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea. You can't just fire them and move on because I would think that's really hard to heal from.
Well, I think it's gonna be yeah, it's gonna be hard either way. I don't know. I mean, put yourself in that position. If one of our employees, I mean, we're a small company,
Yeah.
if any one of us did something like that and you had to fire them, not only would it devastate you if they betrayed you, the rest of us, like, we would all need therapy because we would not know what to do with that.
Yeah. No. Mm-mm.
Like, that would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
So,
No.
I don't know. I don't know. But because when someone you trust lets you down, it affects your ability to feel safe. and it affects your ability to ever want to collaborate again.
Right. It's that psychological safety, which is rooted in trust.
Mhm.
And it says it's the number one predator of team success.
Well, 100%. But then let's flip that. What about the employee when the trust is broken with the boss?
Oh,
You, you
yeah.
know?
That's a tough one because that's the person who is kind of a mentor, maybe in one way or another. And if then that trust is broken, they've promised all this, promised the moon. Maybe it wasn't even the moon, it was just a few things
Yeah.
that were being promised or told that were not true. And then when you find that out, ooh, that does hurt. The impact of the broken trust is really deep. And that's what this study was telling us in 2018. A study was published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships. And it found that betrayal leads to longer term emotional distress than any other forms of interpersonal conflict because of the attachment violation. You really thought you were attached to someone or someone was attached to you, whichever the case is, and I think that's why there's such a hard thing when there's a divorce.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let's put it to the worst of it, right?
Yeah. No.
That betrayal
Yeah.
and long-term distress or anything, somebody who you really, really trusted and you thought they had your best interest in mind and
Yeah.
they don't. Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah. Well, we can remove it from divorce and put it back into our industry. I've had conversations more than once. I would say a easy 5, 6, 7 times with my lifespan of being in this industry when I've talked to flower shop owners that have had employees who they feel like they raised up in this business and given them everything they had knowledge wise, not monetary, only to have that employee leave them and start a business
Mm.
in their same town.
Mhm, mm.
And they felt a betrayal of trust. And that's a hard one
That is a hard one.
because I hate I hate the phrase, "I see both sides," but I do.
I do too. I was just gonna say that. I've been on both sides of that, I
Right,
could say,
right.
and totally understand the betrayal that is felt.
Yes.
But on the other side, that employee that you lifted up, maybe there was something there that you were missing that
Yeah.
you promised and there was a promise broken or things that were assumed that didn't happen, you know?
I am gonna tag on to that because I think of all of the conversations that I've had with employees at NextGen.
Mm, mm,
And even just on the phone, but mostly when we've been at NextGen and there have not been their bosses around. And it's not with something like they're bashing their boss. It's never that because I would never allow that because typically I know their boss, right? But it is more the boss, they don't listen to me. They don't value my opinion. They don't want to hear my ideas. It's that constant of, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. And it's actually heartbreaking.
yeah, yeah, and that could be that employer who's trying to lift up and they don't realize that they're not listening and they're not understanding, and so that employee just like, "I just got to do this. I gotta do it. I gotta break loose."
Exactly, exactly. So, I can see that. I also, though, know of some businesses who that employee was a real ass, honestly, and
Yeah.
left and did it, and they failed
Mm,
because if had they asked or told them, "Hey, this is what I want to do," I know that owner would have helped them achieve their goal at some point, maybe even sold them their business when the time came, like, you know what I mean? So, it was
exactly.
lack of communication, lack of clarity, lack of all the things,
Mhm.
but for whatever the reason, the betrayal, the lack of trust, all of that happened, so it happens, and it's hard to heal from that because both sides walk away feeling betrayed.
Mhm. Yeah. There was no winner in that.
Winner. No winner.
The next one says betrayal hurts relationships and identity, which I think is so important to know that when a mentor or a friend violates trust, it often triggers that sense of loss of identity. I thought they saw me as a good friend, a amazing designer, somebody who is very successful, or you're reevaluating your self-worth.
Yeah.
And then you get confused about what was really real. Was that a real relationship to start with?
Yeah. I would agree with all those things
Yeah.
because you start doubting. And then I think if you're not careful, you relive scenarios, but make new endings.
Like, if this would have happened, this
Yeah.
would have happened.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And even when you do that long enough, if you are in a horrible situation and you just can't come out of it, when you do that long enough, you start merging your new endings with the real endings, and you don't really know what
Mm,
happened. So
mm.
that's why therapy is important. If you get pulled out of it,
And this one kinda we talked about at the beginning, and that healing begins with acknowledgement. You have to acknowledge that it happened,
yeah.
and that's a hard thing, right? Naming it reduces the brain's threat response,
Mhm.
right? So validate your own experience. Don't minimize your pain, which you just said earlier. That's what you try to do.
We put it in a box,
Yeah.
put it up in a shelf in our brain, and move to the next thing. And you and I have talked about that. We joke about that sometimes. And I do think there are cases where you're in the middle of something, and there are times you do have to.
Mhm.
But, you know, what I would say to people, just because of my old age and the amount of books and counseling I've gone through in my life, I know that that box has an expiration date. It has a short shelf life.
Mhm.
And at some point, I need to pull it down,
Mhm.
open it up, deal with it.
Otherwise, the box is gonna rupture.
It's gonna fall when I turn too fast, and it's gonna explode,
Yeah.
and it'll unfortunately explode on my poor husband or some or my dog or somebody that's a victim in front of me and
Yeah.
go, "Oh, what did I do?" And they weren't even the one that hurt me.
Yeah. Yeah. This one was interesting to separate intention from the impact. And I think that's kind of what we were talking about too. Just because they didn't intentionally do it or they did intentionally do it one way or another, it doesn't erase how you're affected
Right,
and how you feel.
right.
Rebuild the trust slowly. Okay, so the next one going on is kindness helps heal.
It
And
does.
we know that the dopamine and the serotonin, which I think we talked about the kindness last time in the podcast,
Mhm.
it really decreases the symptoms of stress and anxiety, which is what we
Yeah.
have to get through.
And I think we forget when we're in the middle of this, of all of the pain. And we say something like, well, kindness, people being kind to you will heal. But it's us being kind to others too.
Right.
'Cause it goes both ways. The more intentional I can be about being kind and helpful to others, the more that dopamine and serotonin, it's selfish, right? It's going to make me feel better
Right.
about me. So I don't need to be sit around waiting for the world to be kind to me because let's be honest, that ain't gonna happen.
Mm-mm.
I
Nope.
have to
You have to start that ripple.
start doing it. Yeah.
Mhm. So this ties powerfully into your business theme. Kindness heals hearts and relationships even after they've been hurt. So obviously flowers, we think of that flowers really are that act of kindness. And the way we're kind when somebody comes in and they've been in a hurtful situation, we're really helping them, but we're helping ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the key takeaway really for our listeners is the betrayal doesn't just hurt, it rewires your expectations. Healing isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It's about understanding, finding meaning, and building a future where trust and kindness have a stronger foundation.
That's good.